4-iron. Oh, you're waiting for me. Ding, 10 off pitching wedge. Ding, 7-iron.
I'll take 10 off a 5-wood.
9-iron.
You want hard wedge or 9?
I'm going little 9.
Okay. 8-iron. Layup.
10 off pitching wedge.
Whatever our highest loft is.
Wedge. Depends on the wind. Where's the wind at?
It could be wedge or 7-iron. Just hopefully hit the green.
Yeah, anything that hits the green.
5-wood.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Golf Underground ESPN Radio. Thank you so much for having us here at the big men's event. Hey, how about we give my boy Joe Skovie a big round of applause for coming in all the way from.
Thanks for having me.
All the way from Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, you know, I think it was Wyatt reached out to you, Wardo, it was maybe a month ago, and said, hey, can you get any big-time guests? We went right down the list, and we came up with Skovie. He was the only guy willing to do it.
Well, we all talk, and everyone wants to hear from a caddy, and a lot of us don't know caddies, so I figured let's get the most entertaining guy in the room here. So.
He is, but you know, it's not the same because we're missing our third guy. Our third guy,
Yeah.
Georgie.
You mean our field associate?
Jorge Brett is normally joining us in the underground. He's not here today. What's he doing?
I don't know. Where is he?
Well, listen, so he called us this morning and he said, Skovie, I'm sorry I can't join you in the show today. And he said, I'm going to send a video from the shitter. Play the video, please. This is real. He's really on the shitter.
Hey, Wardo, good timing. I'm sitting here on the throne, taking a Sullivan, getting ready to wipe my Joe Skovron. Anyway, sorry I couldn't be there. I'm in Arizona playing in a father-son golf tournament with my son here at Whisper Rock, and rumor had it that Joe doesn't have any kids that he's aware of, and he was going to caddy for me, but now he's doing this big speaking tour across our great country. That's why I'm wearing this hat. See the hat? See the hat? It's a big hit at Whisper Rock. And Joe, I hope your speaking engagement goes well because I got a call from Rickie yesterday, and he finally got wind that I helped carry Wardo to the club championship at Mission Hills by Caddie. So he wanted to know what my availability was in January. So I hope you do good today, and we can get you some more gigs because it doesn't look like you'll be caddying for Rickie anymore. I think I'm taking the loop. Anyways, you guys have a good time today. Sorry I couldn't be there. I miss you all, and have fun.
All right, Georgie! All right, so Joe, you flew all the way in. Obviously, you've had a really fun career with Rickie. It's a fun bag, right? I mean, there's certainly better golfers these days, but you know, we're going to get to that in segment 3. All right, we didn't practice this. First of all, I got to tell you, Joe and I got together with Wardo last night at dinner, and you know the plan was to be fresh for this morning, right? Maybe get here early, do a little practice. And Joe, you kept me up till 3 o'clock. So he's a booze caddy as good as you are a golf caddy. And so a few of the questions I asked you last night were off the charts. And so take us back to where you're from, how you got into this game, because you started as a golfer, right, yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up in a golf family. My dad's a lifetime member of the PGA. My mom ran the local junior golf association. I'm from Southern California. I'm from the same town as Rickie, actually. I'm just quite a bit older. I'm 8 years older than him. So I grew up with golf my whole life. Started playing competitive golf when I was 9 and went and played college golf, did the whole thing, tried the mini tours, wasn't good enough, and shut it down. And never really planned on being a caddy. I thought I was going to go in the coaching side of things. I coached college golf for a year, and then it just kind of all worked out with Rickie, and here I am.
All right, so you coached college golf,
I did.
right? And so you had no plans on doing this. All right, so how was that experience? So would you compare yourself more to Coach K? Were you Bobby Knighty? Like, how do you motivate these kids? Because they're all punks.
So I coached at a small D3 school where I went to school, University of Laverne, and I inherited a really good team. I inherited I ended up having 3 first-team All-Americans on my team, and we finished second at the national championship. So I didn't have to do a whole lot. It was more just kind of structuring it with them, and I was still pretty close to their age. I was like 27 years old, I believe. So I kind of went more with we're going to work really hard when it's time to practice, and then we're going to go have fun out there on the golf course. I thought that you should have your most fun competing in the events and look forward to the events. And it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
So how do you go from that? And you were selling some T-shirts at the time, doing all this stuff, right? A little side gig, right?
I had a golf clothing company at the
You were
time.
like Greg Gurley. He tried that
I was
too.
trying to start. That was yeah. So
Right.
I was trying to make a buck. I couldn't make any money playing golf, so I was trying to find other ways.
Right.
What did you learn on the mini tours? Obviously, we chased it around and slapped it around together for a short minute. What did you learn on the mini tours where you were able to add value for those college kids?
I think just being around the game and playing so much competitive golf, you understand what they're going through. You understand some prep. And I thought, after playing mini tours, I thought I really got it. Like how the guys that I thought were really good, I was like, okay, I took that stuff. And then now doing what I do now and realizing the difference with those guys, it's a whole nother level, right? So I took the work ethic, practice, how guys played, strategy, all those things, what I had learned, the mistakes I had made, and tried to apply it to those guys. It's D3 golf. I wasn't coaching Oklahoma State, so it's a little bit different, the guys you're working with. You're not working with guys that are necessarily going to go out and start playing PGA Tour events the next year, so it's a little bit different.
Name a couple names that you and I played with that are now maybe on TV.
Kevin Streelman. Brendan Steele. I roomed with Brendan Steele. That's how actually how I got into caddying was Brendan Steele. I was in his wedding. He grew up pretty close to me as well. He was a couple years younger than me, and I would go out there and just go caddy for fun. It wasn't a job at the time. He'd say, "Hey, come out anytime you want." We were best friends. I had hung up the clubs, and so that's actually how I ended up getting the Rickie gig. All
right, so you get this young kid with the fancy motocross hairdo.
Yep.
Shows up, right? I mean, he was pretty. He was gorgeous, really. And so tell us about how he reached out to you and said, "Hey, would you was it a trial or did he fully commit to you?"
So actually what happened is I had told Brendan I was going to work Omaha for him, and I said, "Hey, I'm not going to come to Ohio State. I had other stuff going on, and I wasn't a full-time caddy. It was just whenever I could go." And then I got a call from Rickie, and he said, "Hey, I got into the Ohio State event. All the All-Americans got in there. It was a nationwide tour event at the time at the Ohio State course." He said, "I'm looking for a guy. I've tried all these guys when I've gotten my exemptions. It hasn't worked. Would you be willing to come out and do a week and see how it goes?" So I had to pick up the phone and call Brendan and say, "Hey, I know I told you I can't do this, and I had to move some things around." I said, "But I got to go try it with this kid and see how it is." And Brendan was awesome about it. He was great. He was like, "Yeah, of course." I mean, Rickie was the #1 amateur in the world at the time, right? So went out there, and we bogeyed the 72nd hole to go to a playoff, and we lost to a guy by the name of Derek Lamley, who ended up winning once on tour. And from there, he said, "Hey, do you want to do the USAM and come out in the fall?" And I did, and he turned pro that fall.
And it was what, 2010?
That was 2009, fall of 2009.
2009. All right, so a little video clip here, and this is you and the boy back in the day. You're like children. This is 11 years ago.
I like that.
Some guys with a caddy, they don't really look for a connection. They just want someone that's going to be good at what they do. What do we got, Skovie?
288 front. It narrows it at 60 front, so if we can't get there, it probably just max is 225.
With Joe, it's nice because he's good at what he does, obviously, but we've known each other for a long time, so we know each other pretty well.
their secondhand source of information to make them as confident as they need to be hitting every golf shot. That's the most important thing.
I don't have much of a requirement. That's why he's on the bag.
Exactly.
I try to stay pretty relaxed and just go out, have fun, play some practice rounds. Is that the big tree that's 293?
The one right out there, sign you can see over there, that's the line.
He'll help me, with yardages, whether I have a carry or something over water or over a bunker. He'll make sure I have that.
And hopefully I don't give him bad information too much. I'll get fired pretty quick.
He only gives me bad info like 2 or 3 times a round, so. This is a requirement. He's required to jog at least 4 holes around. I guess he's trying to get half a hole out of the way right now. A little faster.
He's pretty easygoing. He's pretty confident. Doesn't get rattled by much, so that makes it a lot easier on a caddy, and that's part of what makes him special and why he's accomplished what he's accomplished so fast.
He's learning as he goes on, and I'm learning as well. But we're having fun. He wants me to play well, and obviously we're a team. I'm one of those guys that just luckily got a pretty good caddy that knows a bit about what he's doing. I think we're doing all right.
One comment. Joe, a little more enthusiasm would I think would help, looking at it. I mean, you would bore the crap out of me if you were on my back. Jesus. So if you had to do that again, right? So I say, hey, what club should I hit? How would you normally say it to me?
I would say it's a little 7 or it's a hard 7, and just, there's
Okay,
not
now,
a lot of voice
all right,
and
we're going to role play it. Now we're going to role play it. I want you to be a little more enthusiastic. All right, let's try this again. God, I'm somewhere between an 8 and a 9. What should I hit?
I love the 9.
See, that's boring as shit. I need more.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
I mean, you're ready. That's it, right? You're like the even keel guy. Yeah. I want you to go Billy Mays on me right now. Somewhere between an 8 and a 9. What should I get, Joe? Like a little enthusiasm. You can't break them.
I can't do it.
You can't break them.
I can't do it.
This is what happens when you're a caddy. You're a broken man, for crying out loud.
No, but actually we were talking last night, and why don't you tell the story about Phoenix Open, Rickie's year, shortly after that was filmed, when what happened on 15, and then your follow-up from Tiger months later.
Oh, okay. So that was actually, this would have been 2011, I believe, and that happened his rookie year right when he came out. So I don't know how many of you remember it or watched it, but we had a chance to win the Phoenix Open right when he came out in 2010. And long story short, we're 1 back with 4 to go. We might have been tied at the time, and Hunter Mahan was up in front of us. And it ended up we needed 1 birdie to get in the playoff in the last 4 holes. And we were there on 15 at Phoenix. For those of you that are golf fans, it's a famous hole. Got the island green, the whole thing. And we had talked strategy. Like I said last night, we had talked strategy before the tournament. We always try to cover as much strategy as we can so that we don't get into a debate out there about strategy. We've got a way that we're going to play the hole, and we'll adjust, with wind and different things, but we've usually talked about it before, so we're not making emotional decisions on the run. And we ended up getting a hybrid in. We had talked about that. He said he didn't feel comfortable going for the green if he couldn't get a 4-iron there. And at the time, he was one of the best wedge players on tour. And it was a front pin that was very, very easy to get at with a wedge. So we went with the layup and ended up making par and making pars coming home, and ended up losing the golf tournament by 1 to Hunter Mahan. And that year, Rickie was a Ryder Cup captain's pick. And the night that the Ryder Cup ends, you always go kind of have, you guys have heard about the parties or whatever, everybody goes and has drinks, whether you win, lose, you go have drinks. And so I'd had a few drinks with Tiger the night before, and that was the first time I'd ever really been around him, was that week. And the next morning, we happened to be the first 2 guys up, and actually Rickie's trainer at the time was the other guy at the table. And I don't know what made Tiger say it, but he looked at me and he said, "What the hell were you doing on 15? Why did you guys lay up?" And it just came out of nowhere. And we got into like a serious discussion. I mean, I'm talking to Tiger Woods, and I'm trying to learn. I'm just got done with my first year out there. And he said, "You never hit the comfortable shot, you hit the right shot." And I realized that's why part of the reason Tiger Woods is Tiger Woods.
Wow.
Wow. And you told Rickie that too, right? Wait, but you picked the right time to tell him that.
Yeah,
Tell him about the time.
I ended up waiting, and we played an event that fall, and we had an outside shot to win coming home in Northern California at Cordoval. And I knew we were going to get a number based on the way he hit the tee shot that was going to be kind of an iffy go on a par 5. So I told him the story on the way to the second shot, and he just said, "Give me the 3-wood, we're going." We didn't win, though.
But he felt like a man, didn't he?
You're listening to Golf Underground on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM.
Hey, Brian Sullivan here, and I've got a tip for you. You've got to head to Unforked. It's an amazing restaurant. What I like about these guys is they promise to buy and support seasonal, local ingredients first. And I love the fact that they source from smaller, family, GAP certified, or organic farms, prime-going regions, artisan producers. All I'm getting at is, if you like fresh stuff, Unforked is the place to be. And like they say, fork or no fork, you can be sure you're getting the highest quality, socially responsible ingredients possible. And not to mention, it's delicious. So whether you're out south or downtown, stop by Unforked for a delicious and healthy meal. Sheridan's Unforked. Honest, clean food.
Cowell Insurance Services is your leading program administrator for workers' compensation. They're dedicated to meeting the unique challenges of the insurance industry and assisting employers in reducing their costs. CIS has provided insurance claim and loss control services to various industries, including trucking, construction, retail convenience stores, and healthcare, as well as public entities for over 30 years. They work with both retail agents and industry clients, or a combination of the two. If you're tired of fighting the rising costs of premiums and claims, give Cowell Insurance Services a call. Their dedicated staff is ready to find you the best insurance option at the most competitive price. They can help to define or enhance your safety program in order to move you in the right direction in reducing your claim and premium costs. Contact Cowell Insurance Services today, 816-214-4070.
Hey, Brian Sullivan from the Golf Underground here with a little good news. And that good news is that even double-digit handicappers like me can occasionally make a double eagle. All right, maybe not on a golf course, but even guys like me can score when buying a new car or truck. I'm talking about 2 stores, 2 brothers, and 4 generations, treating customers just like family. I'm talking about our buddies at Bobsite Ford and Bobsite Independence Kia. With these guys, you'll always score 2 under, with double the inventory and double the customer satisfaction. That's the Bobsite Double Eagle. Now, Bobsite offers a wide selection of vehicles and promise to make the car buying process as quick and as hassle-free as possible. Now, whether you have poor credit, no credit, or maybe a first-time car buyer, you can trust Bobsite Ford. And Bobsite Independence Kia will get you into the car or truck you choose with professionalism and attention to your needs. So go visit our buddies at bobsite.com, but only if you're looking for a vehicle that makes you feel like a U.S. Open champion.
You're listening to Golf Underground on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM.
Well, you have had the opportunity to see a lot of great shots, right? I mean, Rickie's one of those guys we all root for.
Driver? Last week on the 8th hole, Conway Farms, ball in hand though. Great.
Do you remember this shot?
Par 5. Kind of sitting up there. Yeah.
I've seen the videos of this shot, and it's been brought back up, but I don't actually remember the shot.
Were you drinking the night before until 3 a.m.?
No.
That's Fowler now. His second at the 11th. Saw Adam Scott
about this
play
one?
just before him. This is the final group. Oh, this might be the way to do it. Bring it back towards the cup.
No, don't remember it.
For Rickie Fowler at the 11th.
I'll give you one more shot at it.
I do remember this one.
Seconds
Quicken
ago.
Loans at Robert Trent Jones. He makes a 1 here.
That's got my attention then.
It does, doesn't it?
Seconds ago. Oh, yes!
That's awesome
Well,
stuff.
since you don't remember any of those shots, let's talk a little bit about your game.
You don't want to talk about that.
You were telling the story last night about Tom Brady. Tell the fans about Tom Brady and your game and your action.
So, with my job, it's pretty wild when you really think about it. I carry a golf bag and give some advice here and there, and the people I've met and how fortunate I've been is just, it's mind-blowing when you really look back at the experiences I've had. And when we had the U.S. Open at Shinnecock, Rickie got there early, and I got there early as well, and we'd done a bunch of prep, and we'd both played Shinnecock before, and we'd both been around it, so we knew what was going on there, and we felt pretty comfortable. And the practice rounds, for those of you that don't know, at U.S. Opens are long. I mean, we're talking 5.5, 6-hour practice rounds, and they'll wear guys out. So a lot of guys will just break it up into 9 holes. So Rickie got everything done early and said, I'm going to go off site Monday, Tuesday. So I went and walked the course Monday again, was doing my stuff, and he said, hey, text me, do you have your clubs? And I said, no, I don't have my clubs. He said, well, you need to get some clubs because you're playing golf tomorrow. And I was like, okay, what are we doing? So it turns out the next morning I show up with one of the other caddies, Andy Sanders, that worked for Jimmy Walker for a long time and works for Lonto Griffin now. I had his clubs. Went and hit a few balls that afternoon because I was done walking the course. And I showed up and I was Tom Brady's partner. So great experience. It was unbelievable. I remember I was so nervous on the first tee. I mean, I felt like I was playing in a golf tournament. I mean, I'm hitting the first shot in front of Tom Brady. And I striped it down the middle. He's like, oh, partner, you can play a little bit. All right, we're good. And he talked to me the whole time, asked me question after question. He was unbelievable. He was everything you'd think he'd be. And it was, for me, I'm a huge football guy. So it was, that was one of those great experiences that you get, perks of the job.
That's unbelievable. Well, so you get a chance to be around a lot of cool guys on tour. Who are some of the cool guys?
So I've become very good friends with Max Homa. So I'd say he'd be my number one out there. If I'm not including Rick, Max Homa's definitely my number one. I obviously grew up with Brendan Steele, and like I said, I was in his wedding. Great guy. Some of the other guys, Justin Thomas is one of my favorites. Justin's a great balance of killer and fun, and I think he really gets that and understands it. He's great with it. And there's a ton of good guys out there. I mean, it's hard to find guys you don't actually get along with. There are a few here and there, but it's just going to be that way in any workplace, right?
Yeah. Do they treat you like you're part of the team, though, or are you still just a caddy?
No, most of the guys are pretty good about it, and especially as long as I've been out there, gotten to know most of the guys and got a relationship with a lot of them. And so, yeah, they're very good about, not treating us like we're second-class citizens or anything of that sort.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so let's get into the dirty talk here. Now, I'm not going to get that dirty, but Rickie's a commercial freak, right? I mean, aside from the gorgeous hair and wonderful clothing, I'm attracted to him. Why wouldn't you be? I mean, he's all over the map, right? And so he's got to balance this thing. I'm going to make some cash with these corporate partners, but then I got to play good golf. And so you've obviously had chats with him about this. Does this decision torment him in any way? I go make all this endorsement money, which he's made way more money in endorsements than he has on the golf course. How does he balance that?
I think the toughest part when you're balancing that is the expectations that are put on him and the outside world, what they say. He had a lot of expectations put on him early because of playing well and being so popular and being everywhere. And he's in every commercial, and he's in all these things that people want him to be number one in the world, and people want him winning majors, and people want him doing all these things. And I think that's the tough balance, is that those are two separate things. Being marketable and being well-liked and being the best player in the world are two totally different things. We're used to Tiger. The reason Tiger is marketable is because he's Tiger Woods, right? Because he's the best there is. There's other guys that are marketable because of their personality, because people like them, people gravitate towards them. And so Rick is a combination of the two. And I think the hardest part is balancing that and listening to what people say when they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They don't know what kind of time you're putting in. They don't know all these things, but they just judge it like, well, this guy doesn't win and he's on all these commercials. And you're like, well, he's actually won 5 times and he's had a pretty good career.
What makes him likable, though? Why do we like him?
I think he has I think coming out, kids were gravitated towards him with the long hair and the flat brim and all the different hats and the wild clothes and all those things. But the thing that I was actually talking about this with somebody earlier, I think I was talking about with Wyatt. it's amazing to me that 10 and 11-year-olds still love him like they did when he was 21. I thought that would go away at some point, and he has a charisma about him and a thing about him that, grandmas like him and little kids like him. And so he's got that unique ability to do it. And I think people can just see that he's a nice person. He goes to everybody's pro-ams. He's always got time for everybody. He remembers every kid on PGA, everybody's kids. He remembers their names, asks about them. And he's just a genuinely good guy.
Yeah. All right, so there's been some talk on tour that some thought he was a bit overrated. Does it drive him nuts?
Well, I mean, he won that week that came out, right? So I think that kind of answered it.
An anonymous poll in which it named Rickie Fowler and Ian Poulter as the most overrated players in golf.
Fine by me. I guess top 5s in 4 majors aren't that good, so like I said, I'll take care of my business and I'll be just fine.
Anybody that plays the PGA Tour is not overrated.
There are a lot of fans out there that follow this sport because of Rickie Fowler.
The timing of him winning this would be as good a timing as you possibly have in the deepest field in golf.
On social media, it seemed like all anyone could talk about was the fact that Rickie was singled out as one of the most overrated players on tour.
Sports Illustrated came out just before this tournament saying that he's the most overrated player on the PGA Tour.
Rickie Fowler, by some of his peers anonymously, was called out as being overrated.
In order for our game to continue to go forward, we need to be entertained. We need stars.
Anonymously was called out as being overrated.
In order for our game to continue to go forward, we need to be entertained. We need stars.
Does that make you want to kick someone's ass?
What's that?
Does that make you angry?
No, it didn't. Honestly, it didn't bother me.
Not at all. That doesn't bother you.
No, I mean, the thing I've learned, it sounds ridiculous, and I know people say this, you hear athletes say this and everything. I've learned that you can't pay attention to that stuff. If you do, then it's going to be a long road out there. There's going to be somebody that thinks I'm not good at caddying. There's going to be somebody that thinks I'm a jerk. There's going to be somebody that thinks I'm the greatest caddy there is. That doesn't mean any of them are right. So for me, I just keep trying to do my job, tell him to keep trying to do his job, and I mean, I'm sure as the player, it gets under your skin a little bit more, for sure, So it definitely bothered him, there's no doubt. And he kind of showed it with what he did that week.
What did he do that week?
He ended up winning, from what I remember. Winning the Players' Championship, his biggest win
so
ever.
You do remember things.
Yeah, I do. I remember some things.
No, but it was you even had, Nick Faldo, right? You look at this quote. What is this guy doing? Why is he coming up with comments like this? And even Butch Harmon, right? Butch Harmon was his coach. And Butch Harmon even said he wasn't focused enough on golf. He said, you're going to have to be less of a Kardashian and more of a pro golfer. That's got to drive him nuts.
Well, the Butch thing's totally different because Rickie's career has been what it's been because of Butch Harmon. And I will say that anywhere at any time that Butch Harmon has had such a big influence on his career, and Butch means a lot to us. So that's Butch's style. That's what Butch does. That's what makes Butch so good, is he's the guy that calls you out. He's the guy that challenges you when you need it, and we all need it sometimes.
You think he did that on purpose? He wanted that out
absolutely.
there? Really?
Absolutely. Butch did that on purpose to get Rickie motivated, whatever he felt Rickie needed, that's why he did it.
Nice. So back up on the Butch thing a little bit, because a lot of us in this room have been to Augusta and we've been to the Masters. You see the instructors on the range. Obviously, at Augusta, they're there. Talk through how he motivates those guys better than the other instructor.
So I think, obviously, Butch knows what he's doing from a swing perspective. I think his greatest quality in his teaching, in my opinion, is that he can look at 4 things that are going wrong and diagnose the one thing to fix it. I think that's his greatest strength. I mean, being around his dad, being around Mr. Hogan, all the people he was around, he knows what's going on. But in addition to that, he's a coach. He's not just a swing guru, swing teacher. He is an actual coach. And so he's not scared to challenge the guys. And because of who he's taught, these guys listen when he talks. So he has a little bit different, he has an advantage on other teachers in the fact that I taught Tiger Woods. I taught Greg Norman. Just go down the list of guys. Phil Mickelson. I mean, just go down the list. So these guys listen when he speaks. And so that's what he's very good at, is just giving it to him straight and saying, hey, here's how it is.
It's awesome.
So those opinions don't affect him. They don't affect you, obviously. But do you guys ever sit down and have a beer, and can he confide in you and genuinely say, this is how I feel right now? As his caddy, you've been with him forever.
Yeah.
Right? You're a little older, so you got the mentor side of this thing. I mean, does he ever just pull up and say, Joe, I got to talk to you? Or is he somewhat reserved?
Yeah, we don't. There's not a lot of that, but we'll have some talks. You know, a lot of our best talks have been Sundays in 40th, and and he'll open up a bit and we'll talk about things, and he'll definitely talk about things, but we don't have a lot of sit downs. We'll have team meetings and things like that, but we don't have sit downs like what you're referring to.
Right.
And of course, this stuff's gonna get to you. Like, you don't want Nick Faldo saying that about you, and you don't want to hear this stuff, but you can't really do anything about it, right? You just got to go play golf.
Right. All right, where's his mind at now?
Being a dad. Yeah, new dad. So it was perfect timing, off season. We're off until mid-January. So I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, he had a little girl, Maya, and I think he's pretty focused on that. But from what I was told, I didn't talk to him this week, Tillery was down there, his swing coach, and they were getting some work in, and I believe it's this weekend. He's playing the member out at Michael Jordan's place, The Grove, and his partner is Justin Thomas.
No way.
So, yeah, that team, they're giving some shots back to the field.
Are you kidding me?
No.
That's kind of like the time when you two played together in the member guest, right? Weren't you two partners?
We were.
Talk about it, Wardo. Did you win your flight? It was the two of you. You flew all the way in to be his partner. Wardo.
Didn't you make I think you made a 10-footer to beat Hess.
I did have a nice 9 holes against Hess. Hess brought the best out of me. But you made the putt to win the thing.
No, I did not.
Yeah. So.
How'd you two meet?
So we met on the mini tours in, 07, 06?
06. Yeah, 2006.
Believe it or not, Donald Trump, being the entrepreneur he is, started the U.S. Pro Golf Tour in 06. Quickly after that, it folded, partially due to the recession, and they were paying a lot of mini tour guys a lot of money to slap it around. And so we traveled all over the globe together and just have been buddies and stayed in touch since.
Nice. Okay, so you're prepping for this season. You can play a lot?
What's that?
Is you going to play in a lot of tournaments?
Yeah, we'll start at La Quinta, and there's a few events we're not in right now. We didn't finish top
Such
125. We're not in the Players. The exemption has run out 5 years, and he didn't finish top 125 last year. So we've got to play our way into Players. Some of the invitationals we're not in. He'll probably get exemptions to those, and then we're not in the majors right now. So early in the year is big for us. Come out and play some good golf.
So it's going to be weird not seeing Rickie at Augusta.
Yeah, last year was the first time.
Last year was the first time. And that
Yeah,
had to
well,
be,
he wasn't in his rookie year because he hadn't gotten to the top 50 in the world yet, and then he'd been in every year since.
So what's a guy do who's played in the Masters forever? Does he watch the Masters, or does he just go out and get bombed?
He definitely doesn't go out and get bombed.
I'd get bombed.
We didn't talk about it a lot. I think he watched a bit of it. I watched every minute of it. I'm a big golf fan, and it was the first time not being there, and it's obviously disappointing that you're not there, but you just got to kind of accept it and move on and try to get back there the next time.
All right, so is he the next Phil Mickelson? Right,
How
because
so?
we talked about this. When did Phil win his first major?
Is that 06?
Talking in a mic.
06? Was it 06?
How old was he?
I don't know.
Does anyone know?
40?
I thought he was 34 or 35. Is that right?
Older.
He was old, right? He was 35. He won it. And how old's Rickie now?
He is going to be 33 on Monday.
So he's still young.
He's still young.
My God, right? 33? Look at you. You got to be 93. But honestly, 33, he's still, the hair and the outfits and all this, he still looks 18 and stuff.
And that's
right?
it's funny you mention that because golf's changed so much. That used to be your prime, right? The mid-30s used to be your prime, and now we're expecting these guys at 23, 24 to come out there because you got guys like Rahm and Morikawa and all these guys doing this stuff, and the game's changed so much. So I think the prime has gotten a little bit earlier in guys' careers now. It doesn't take them as long to figure it out. But there's plenty of guys that have played their best golf at 36 or 37. You know?
Right. Well, and you and I talked about this last night. The three of us were sitting around, I believe it was 2:15 at Grand Falloon, only because every other bar kicked us out. And we talked about Rickie's putting average. We talked about his driving length. 2014 was his best year, or 15?
I mean, it would be debatable. 14 was the year that he had the top 5 in all the majors, but 15 was a fantastic year.
Yeah. Well, in 14, he's one of only 2 other guys finished top 5 in 4 majors, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many guys have done it.
There's only 2,
Okay.
and it's Jack and Tiger. A little trivia for you, right?
There you go.
And so, but 15, I looked at his stats, and I looked at, they're almost identical. Yet his world ranking is totally different. Why is that?
Well, the game has changed quite a bit. I mean, what you're saying is a fair point. I think they have changed a bit if you look at the putting stats and you look at a few things that weren't quite where they were in 14, 15. But the game has changed so much since I've been out there. It's since 2010, just the amount of guys, how hard they hit it, the speed, how aggressive they are. I mean, I think a great example of how the game's changed is when Tiger was going at it with Brooks at Belle Reve a few years ago. Tiger's so used to, hey, I'm not going to make a mistake. I'm going to hit it 20 feet. I'm going to wear you out, and you're going to make the mistake. And Brooks didn't do it. Right. And I think Tiger was like, you know, I'm sure he kind of went home and went, okay, this has changed a little bit. I got to change the recipe for what's done it, because these guys just keep coming. And there's somebody that's, the thing that everybody forgets is, if you tee off with 156 guys in the field, somebody's going to have the best week of their life.
Right.
So just because you're number 5 in the world or 6 in the world doesn't mean your week that might be a B+ or an A- week for you is going to beat the number 110 in the world's A+ week or the best week of their life. So that's where you've seen the Sean McKeels come up and challenge Tiger, the Rich Beams beat him, the Y.E. Yangs. It's going to happen at times.
Right.
And so it's just getting harder and harder out there. These guys keep getting better and better.
What's different about a major week versus just a traditional week? Obviously, Brooks has shown that he plays well when he wants to play well. What's different?
I think number one, the guys come in and for the most part, most of them are a little bit tighter, a little bit more uptight, a little bit anxious. And then other than Augusta, most of the time you're trying to learn the course for the first time, or you've only been there once every 5, 8, 10 years. Whereas most weeks we've been there 10 or 12 times. You play the same schedule all the time, right? So Phoenix, for example, we've played there so much that he won't get to the actual golf course. He goes off site until Wednesday, and we play 9 holes and go because he just knows the place so well, and they haven't made any changes. So why would you put all this time in there that doesn't need to be there? But then major weeks, a lot of times guys are showing up. Some guys are coming in early. Some guys are showing up 5 days before. Some guys are playing a ton of holes to prep. But everybody's a little different, and you have to kind of find your major recipe that works for you. And I think it's different per venue because Augusta, I don't think you need as much time once you've played there a bunch. I think guys almost overdo it at Augusta, to be honest, because they want to be there so bad. They love it so much. I think most guys would agree it's the coolest week of the year. So guys just want to get on the golf course, want to do all these things, and a lot of times by Saturday or Sunday, they're kind of mentally drained.
Does he do anything off the course, majors-wise, in terms of social media, phone, meals, prep, all that?
I think there's been times when he has. Augusta, a lot of the guys will do some stuff at Augusta because Mercedes is involved. If you're a Mercedes guy or you're a NetJets guy, a lot of them like to do their stuff there. So there's some guys that will do stuff, but they try to minimize it, not wear themselves out. The bottom line is even if these guys are making money and doing what they're doing, they still want to play well, and their objective is to win the golf tournament.
Mm-hmm. All right, your last big win. Here's how it went down.
It's a soccer chant.
Actually, no. Hang on. Let's take you here.
Pretty steady rain going on out there right now as Rickie's over at 11.
Oh, except maybe in the rain. Look at this. This is a huge mistake. Very steep bank. And
Watch
there's
Joe's face.
Excuse me, a penalty area behind.
You were so pissed.
Wow.
All right. So tell us about this. You were leading by 7 going into the day or something, right?
We were leading by 3 going into the day, and
All
I
right,
think it was
same thing. 7, 3, it's all the same.
And the funny there's so many backstories to this event. I mean, I could talk about this event for 35 minutes, so I'll try to condense it.
Get a cocktail. Let's stay.
But the thing that a lot of people don't realize is he hit a half shank on the par 5 early on the 3rd hole of the day. Had to hit a shot off the cart path there. Made a double bogey on the 5th hole. It was a completely different golf course. I think he was 21 under through 3 rounds. It was as good as I've ever seen him play for three rounds. And then it got cold and rainy, and the golf course got long, and all of a sudden, holes that you had 6 and 7 irons into, you had 5 woods into, and the course changed quite a bit. And we had a rough front 9, and we kind of looked at each other. We've always talked about it that you're gonna have one rough 9 holes, right? And that's why you get a lead, is because then you can deal with it. And so we kind of reset, and he goes and he birdies 10. And actually on that shot on 11, we were coming from the rough, and long is obviously no good there. So we had played a club that couldn't get to the green. Like it was gonna have to jump quite a bit to get to the green. And when the ball's wet and you're coming out of that rough, like it can jump quick. So we played a very conservative shot to put him in a spot, and that's, I mean, if you asked me the best shots in his bag, like you get him off a tight lie like that, you know, fairway lie where he can nip it. But
kind of like this one.
Yeah. So, and it was just kind of a disaster there. I mean, I had to ask Slugger, the head rules official, what we made on the hole. Because we didn't know, like with the drop, the ruling, the ball rolls in the water.
7?
All these things,
Right.
and it ended up being 7, and I just wanted to know what.
Here's how it
where
ended,
we were
though.
at.
Here's how it ended. There's a tight line.
What a shot. What a shot.
Cannot imagine.
He showed a lot of heart today.
What's going through that head and that heart right now. And Rickie Fowler is finally
Make you feel nice?
Yeah, that one's a little emotional. We've been so close so many times there. I live in Scottsdale. We lost a heartbreaker to Hideki, the other one that I talked about earlier to Hunter, and then just everything he went through that day to see him get it together and win. And the funny thing about that shot is I was pounding on him to hit it 15 feet by because we had a 2-shot lead. I said, just throw this thing past the hole. Let's 2-putt and get out of here. And then, of course, he hits the nipper up there to 4 feet and makes it.
You think he meant it?
What's that?
Do you think he meant to hit that shot?
Yeah.
Meaning, you know, we've all,
I think
he just hit it
he
bad.
probably
It
was
came
trying
out
to hit
good.
it 4 or 5 feet by the hole instead of the 10 or 15 feet I was suggesting. So.
But that was the last win. Is Rod, his dad, Lynn, the mom.
Everybody was there.
Right? Allison is new. It just, you know, it was so good. It felt family-ish, you know? It was,
Grandparents were there. My parents were there. It was a very cool day for us.
All right, what's the Phoenix Open like straight up 16? Like, give me straight up, right? So you've lived through this. You've lived through this.
Soccer chant. Football games. Ah, he's bringing them on. There we go. Come on. Attaboy. It is tremendous. Well, this is the reason why they got here at 10 o'clock this morning. Rickie. I love it.
Not just the fans at TPC Scottsdale here, but a lot of family here as well.
I bet you stuffs it.
He knows he's in for it.
I did not expect that.
He may be as good a businessman as he is a golfer, Gary.
Pretty good. He knows what he's doing. And they throw him a Puma hat, which is very good.
He's a good salesman, right? All right, question for you. Raise your hand if you've been to the Phoenix Open, please. Phoenix Open. All right, so have you ever won a caddy race on the 16th hole?
No.
Have you ever attempted the caddy race, or are you too cool for it?
No, I'm too cool for it.
Really?
Yeah.
You're one of the hip guys where, you know, like the fat caddy runs up and he beats you, and you know, you're like, yeah, I'm too cool for it.
I've done the caddy race once at Colonial. That's actually where it started, and I did it one time early on in my career, and then other than that, I've never done it.
What is
I'm
it?
always the guy lagging in the back, just, you know, go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah, might.
Is he lagging it back because he's still single and giving out his phone number? Or what's he doing on 16?
Maybe his phone number was in those hats that Rickie was throwing in the audience. Huh? Right? All right, so no, what a fun tournament, man. We go every year, and as fans, we sit there and we all want to be the golfer or the caddy, right? I grew up in Waterbury, Connecticut. We had this chat last night with Joe. So Tiger's caddy's named Joe LaCava. You might be familiar with him. So Wardo and I went to the Austin Country Club for the Dell Match Play Extravaganza Invitational. I can never remember the name. And so we get into this back room. We're in the caddy room, and I see this Joe LaCava guy, right? So he's Tiger's caddy, and I'm like, he's from Waterbury, Connecticut, where I grew up. Now, Waterbury, Connecticut, where I grew up, was ranked the worst place to live in the country by Money Magazine 3 years in a row. Claim to fame, right? And I loved it, by the way. So I thought, here's this Italian guy, Tiger's caddy. I'm going to go up. He's eating a salad. He's not talking much. I said, Joe LaCava, I'm Brian Sullivan from Waterbury, Connecticut. I thought he was going to jump off his chair. Waterbury, you freaking kidding me? I'm from Waterbury. He looked at me. He's like, get the hell out of here. Right? I really did. Gave me a look. And I'm like, nah, come on, Joe. Brian Sullivan, Waterbury Country Club. I was a caddy like you. You're a caddy. I'm a caddy, right? What's the difference? He big-timed me. He's one of your best friends. And what I tell you to take a message back to that damn Italian.
No one messes with Joe. That's a little tough to give him that kind of message. He's the guy that no one messes with out there.
All right, why?
All right, on LaCava,
talk about this.
We got to hear this story. Tell him the story about going home from the Flyers game or whatever when they drove 2 hours.
Are we live on this podcast? I don't know if I can tell this story. Anyway, there's a lot of stories about Joe LaCava. They're fantastic. So he has one that he was driving home from, they had decided to go to a hockey game. I don't even know which hockey game they went to. It was a couple hours away. The President's Cup was out in D.C. area at Robert Trent Jones. And LaCava's driving 110 or something, coming back, gets pulled over, and the cop says, you know how fast you're going? He goes, I don't know, you're the cop. So the next day, the way I've been told the story, the next day, the Bushes were out there, President's Cup, the whole thing, Secret Service guys were out there. And they go to the Secret Service guys, hey, Joe got a ticket last night, think he can help us out? They make the call, and the cop said, nope, he better show up in court. The way that guy talked to me, there's no chance. He turned down the Secret Service because of the way Joe talked to him. So Joe got the ticket.
See, I like that cop. That's how I felt.
It's a lot better story when Bones tells it. But
Yeah, last night at 1 a.m., there was a little more adjectives in there. You talked like a good Italian last night, Yeah. No, that's fine. So, but you must have so many freaking stories. Right? Honestly, you think, like you said, your plan was not to be a caddy, but you get lumped into this thing. Now you're on TV every damn weekend. You're hanging out with Mr. Handsome. You got all these commercials. And at some point, you sit back and say, all right, was we all judge our lives, right? Were they fun? Did we make good friends? Was our life a success? You think you're successful?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate. When you look back, you get kind of caught up in it, that it's just your life and you don't really pay attention to it, but then when you take a step back and you're chatting with Tiger Woods, you're having these talks, and, you're playing golf with Tom Brady and you're doing all these things, it's wild. Like I said, from carrying a golf bag. And it's, I've been so fortunate to be a part of it, and because of the guy I worked for and his popularity. And then on top of that, at the job, going down the stretch in majors, being a part of wins, all those kind of things. And that's the most fun, is the Sundays in contention. That's what you live for. That's why I played golf growing up, because I wanted to be one of those guys. And now I'm the guy on the bag right next to the guy doing it. And I'm very fortunate to do what I do.
Yeah, but so guys like both of you, right? So you wanted to be professional golfers, both of you. You stayed in it, right? You're teaching it. You're doing it every day. And I know it drove you a little bit nuts, right? You sat with Chuck Cook. You were with the best instructors. It's hard to get there, right? At least, you're dabbling in it. You're living it. I just can't imagine you getting bored with it. But I bet you it's just around you. It's the norm. And that's weird to guys like me. Because we're sitting there, we're watching it. We're like, I want to be that, whether I'm playing it or caddying it. It's cool. I mean, but it seems to me like it's just no big deal to you.
Yeah, because, it's like anything that you do. anybody that you meet, whatever it is that they do, that's what you do for a living.
Yeah.
So I try to take a step back and see it, but I'm also out there trying to do the best job I can do and not getting caught up in all this stuff and just trying to do my job.
Well, you're doing it well. So, Wardo, it is that time.
It is that time.
Wardo's favorite, what do we call it?
The Emergency 9, brought to you by Sheridan's Unforked. Feeling good.
See,
eating good, feeling good.
You know what?
I think you're going to have to cough up the mic to my associate, Ted McDonald, over there.
Ted, would you go in the back and get the mic here? You're going to be our roving reporter.
All right, so here's how we...
So, Wardo, listen, Wardo, you stayed up late last night, and you got in trouble this morning. By the way, Wardo and I got in trouble by our wives last night.
So what are we going to do tonight?
I just need a little more enthusiasm during the E9. I'm not happy with the enthusiasm
what are we
level.
going to do?
So E9.
E9, here we go.
All right, Ted.
All right, the first hole. These are questions from the audience or from fellow members and fans. All right,
First
here we
of all,
go.
long-time underground listener. Thanks for coming, guys. It's been great.
All right,
I have collected some questions. Ken McQuaid, he had to leave. He wanted to know whether it's okay to hold your girlfriend's hand on the driving range.
No.
No? 3 thumbs down?
Unacceptable.
Ted, why do you ask that question? Who holds his girlfriend's hand on the driving range?
Ken McQuaid wanted to know if it was appropriate to do that, and so I said I'd ask.
But who are you referencing? I mean, so someone holds a hand, and you're being ambiguous right now.
I don't mean to be. He wanted the question asked, and I asked it.
Ricky and Ken McQuaid are all known to hold hands on the driving range. Let's put it that way. All right, question 2.
It could be, allegedly.
Question 2 comes from George Brett. Do you stock your bag with dude wipes or fresh-ins? Fresh-ins, like fresh-ins.
Neither.
Neither. Has Rickie, question number 3, has Rickie ever shit his pants on the golf course?
No.
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Question 4 comes from Ted McDonald.
Wait a minute, I'm right here.
He's right there. Let Ted, Ted, ask the question, please.
The fellow members know me to be extremely methodical on the golf course. Who's the slowest player on tour?
Thank you.
Slowest player on tour. I'm trying to make sure I give a good answer here. There's a few guys. I mean...
Patrick Reed. Yep.
Yeah, I think you're safe going with Bryson. But there's a few other guys that would challenge him.
I got one. Rickie Torres, Rickie Fowler, most rounds 2021.
Rickie, we looked at Rickie Torres' gin last night. I think he has 212 rounds carded.
Wow.
So what was the answer? Who won?
I don't know.
Rickie Torres.
What's the panel say?
212 rounds.
Fowler still probably got him.
I got one more. I'm
Close,
standing right next to Steve Bethune, former president, Indian Hills.
Stevie.
He goes by Orange. He's got 10 pairs of orange golf shoes in his locker.
Pumas.
He's got
Rickie.
He's got an orange golf bag. Sometimes plays with an orange golf ball. He wants to know who wears orange better, he or Rickie Fowler.
I mean, no one wears it better than Rick, right? That's just the way it is. Sorry.
I'm sure there are other questions. Anybody else got a question?
No, I got one more. Actually, Gus Zinn has one. You want to take the mic over to Gus? Gus Zinn would like to know who your favorite team in the Big Ten is.
I'm not a Big Ten guy, but I would have to go Iowa.
You got to leave now.
Iowa!
My girlfriend's a Hawkeye fan, so I've watched a bunch of games this year.
Okay, I'll ask one more question on behalf of Indian Hills, and a lot of your stories we can't relate to. Other than at 2:15 in the Grand Falloon, we're not usually talking about average driving distance, but what game do you like to play? I mean, we kind of specialize in maybe hammer here is kind of our game, and we got a lot of people from other clubs here, Mission Hills, they like to flip a quarter game. It's kind of dumb. But what's the most, what's the game that you think all hacks like us should play?
So I'm boring. I like playing partner best ball, close out, press for half. So then the team that played the best wins. But if you're just trying to enjoy it, I mean, you got to go Malibu, right?
What's Malibu?
You know,
Yeah, what's Malibu?
Tell us.
I don't even know all the details to Malibu, to be honest.
Get us
But
started.
these guys all play it at my club, and it's like you're picking your partner on the tee, and the ball's in the air.
You know
and all of a sudden
Malibu?
There's money
Someone
going
know
around
Malibu?
everywhere. So I'm sure there's somebody in here that plays Malibu. I don't play it.
So you can't just throw out the word Malibu because it's
Yeah,
cool
I'm
and you're
just
from
throwing it
Southern
out. I just
California
didn't wanna
without
sound
knowing the
boring.
damn rules.
To be honest, I just didn't want to sound boring with my closeout game, so I threw out Malibu. I know it's a game. Sorry.
Get him a shot of Malibu in the back, please. You got to drink it. All right, I agree. Hammer is probably the best game. All right, do we all agree? Wolf Hammer.
You know,
What?
so Hammer, the funny thing about that, since we're talking about Rickie and everything else, is those guys all went on a trip. Gary, Kiz, Rickie, Duff, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, and they went to that Hoopy match play. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And ever since, all they say to each other is hammer, hammer, hammer. So they were obviously playing your game. So you must be playing the right game.
It's a great game. Yep.
Fletch, you got a
All right,
question?
what else we got? We got another one over here. Big Ted. Where's our mic, man?
Mike,
Pass the mic.
You've seen a lot of great shots in your life. Have you ever seen one better than Doughboy's ace on 18 at Ward's wedding? And tell us about that.
Wait, where's Doughboy? Where's Doughboy? Give him the mic, please.
So
Give him the mic, please.
that happened the day after I played with him.
All right, well, let's tee this up. Let's tee this up. So it's Wardo's wedding, and on the wedding day, Wardo, take it away. Tell us about this special day, because it was your wedding day, the day before your wedding, and you got to play with Doughboy and your dad. Take it away.
Yeah, so the only way I was going to pull off golf on my wedding day is to do a par 3 track. So we played at this par 3 track, Mountain Shadows, in the middle of Scottsdale, and it was myself, Doughboy, my other brother, my brother-in-law, and my dad, and 18 awesome holes right there next to Camelback Mountain. And Doughboy, Charlie Hilliard just fit Doughboy for a new wedge, and on the 18th hole, back left pin, the guy hits a sizzler in there and makes an ace on the last hole. So it was, what was it, 500 a man? 500,
Yep,
500 a man. We had a couple ladies in the field, which we didn't make them pay, but the all-in take was about $16,000.
Doughboy, take the chair, please. Take the chair, please. All right, so Doughboy, tell us about it from your perspective. It was an emotional day, and obviously it was your brother's, it was his big day. Did you feel guilty like you were showing him up on his wedding day?
I didn't feel guilty at all, Sully. It felt good to go ahead and try to trump him again as a big brother. The day before we had played, Skovie hosted out at Whisper, so got to play with Skovie and kind of interact with them for the first time. And he's like, "Hey, I don't think I'm gonna drink today with you guys." I'm like, "Well, shit, we teed off before we even got here, bud." So pretty soon, shortly after, we got him in the mix, and playing with Charlie and we were playing a game, and it was Skovie and I, and we were getting our asses handed to us. And but anyway, yeah, it was a special week down there, and you know, just Skovie's presence. I think it was Skovie. What hole was that I asked you if I should hit my 2-iron stinger on?
I don't remember what hole that was, but it was an amazing shot. But you told me today you retired the 2-iron, though.
The 2-iron has been retired from the bag. Yep. So.
All right,
I haven't
Doughboy,
seen anybody hit a 2-iron in a while, to be honest.
How many hole ones is this for you, Doughboy?
It's that was number 4 to the collection.
Yeah, number 4. And
I know.
And what was your quote? Your quote was "good things."
Yeah, my quote that day was, you know, George asked me. I said, you know, good things happen to good people.
All right, big round of applause for Doughboy. First 4
Thank
hole
you.
was. You're the best. You're the best. All right, what other questions? Come on. This is a chance. You get the inside scoop.
I got one.
Get the inside scoop. You got one back there?
I do.
All right, what do you got?
So quick follow-up to a statement you made earlier. Our table was wondering, you said there are a lot of great guys on the tour, few guys that wouldn't quite make that list. So I thought maybe you could elaborate on the guys that didn't make that list and maybe a story or two of why you don't like them as much.
You knew that was coming.
Can I just elaborate on the guys I like? That's a tough one. I'll being completely honest with you, there's no one that like stands out that I actually have a problem with. Like, I might not want to go get a beer with them. I might not hang out with them, but Rick and I pretty much get along with everybody. I know it's the safe answer. I understand.
What's DeChambeau really like? What's he really like? Straight up. Don't do the politically correct. It's a safe environment. No one's got cameras in here. You're fine.
So the funny thing about that is I really get along with him well. I've never had an issue with him. Like, I've known him when he was an amateur. I met him out at the Plantation Club out in Indio before he turned pro, and he's been nothing but nice to me. So.
Okay, listen, there's a trend with you. You're nice to everyone. You like everyone. Really nice fella. We got to go back to the Ryder Cup when Mr. Tom Watson, Kansas City's finest, right? He had a little controversy. Phil was a little yappy, you know. He was like the old man against the young kids, right? And it didn't really work out. But you said you loved him. Tell him how Tom Watson was good to you.
So Ryder Cups, obviously you got different captains. They all kind of handle it differently. And that Ryder Cup, a few weeks before, once the team was announced and we knew what was going on, Andy North and Tom Watson emailed all the caddies and started asking us questions. And they had, you know, do you think your guy can play 5 matches? Who do you think's the best partner? All these different things. And I grew up in a Tom Watson house. Obviously not from Kansas City, but my dad's favorite player of all time was Tom Watson. And that was his guy. And so I always kind of grew up, you know, a Tom Watson fan. And then before that Ryder Cup, we got to play a practice round with him and be around him, and so it was very cool for me. And he emailed me back and asked me more questions and really like kind of leaned on us and took what we had to say into account, which I really appreciated. And you don't get that all the time. And on top of that, he kind of took a liking to Jimmy Walker and Rickie that week, and they were kind of his guys. He sent his caddy, Neil Oxman, with us. They always send a guy with you, and Neil went with us everywhere. And, I mean, Neil was so fired up. He was like, I remember we were 2 or 3 down to Stenson and whoever his partner was at one point, and he was literally yelling at us in the fairway like it was a football game. He's like, they don't want this. They don't want a piece of you. They're not going to wear them down. Doing the whole thing. He was so into it, and he's a great guy. I believe he's a Harvard guy, and he's a college professor, really smart man, and he ended up caddying for Tom quite a bit after Bruce passed away. And just my whole interaction with Tom that week, he kept sending us out. You know, we played all 4 matches before the singles, just kept sending us, and we didn't win a match. We tied 3 times, and, you know, it was Rory making a putt on us or Sergio doing this, and Poulter holes out, and it was all these things. They played great, didn't win a match, and then sent us again that afternoon when there was the controversy because he sat Webb and Phil, I believe, and sent us back out and kind of just got worn down, and we got murdered by Dubuisson and McDowell. I think it was 5-4, 4-3, or something like that. But my experience with him, you know, I have a football background, so I don't mind guys saying how it is and doing that whole thing. So I enjoyed my week with him, and I had no.
You're listening to Golf Underground on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM.
Hey, Brian Sullivan of Golf Underground with my favorite orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Kevin Whitty from Sano Orthopedics. Hey, Doc, golf season's over. My back is killing me. I know it's football season, so you get a lot of kids coming in, blown ACLs, all sorts of body parts with problems. And then, of course, those baseball players. I know you fix a lot of elbows. Why is Sano Orthopedics the absolute best sports medicine orthopedic group in Kansas City?
Well, if you want to see the guys in town who've had the best orthopedic fellowship training in sports medicine, including training with Dr. James Andrews and Dr. Larry Lemack, come see us. We individualize patients' plans to get them back to that activity and that sport that they love, and we actually care and listen to our patients and follow up with them, make sure that they're getting the results they need.
Okay, and so the 3 things that separate you: number 1, best training; number 2, you specialize in getting people on that field; number 3, you're actually listen. Where can I learn more? Because you got me all in, and I don't really want to get fixed, but it's time.
At SanoOrthopedics.com, 816-525-2840.
Hi, this is George Brett, Hall of Fame baseball player, and I've been playing golf for over 35 years. Hitting the ball far was never my problem, but the closer I got to the greens, that's when my problems began. When I wanted a golf practice area in my backyard, I called Celebrity Greens. They are the industry leader in custom-built synthetic golf greens. These championship caliber, low-maintenance greens roll great, react like real bent grass, and hold chip shots that check and spin. I absolutely love mine, not only in Kansas City, but also in Arizona. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens at 1-888-507-7960 or visit them online at celebritygreens.com. Practice like the pros, or people like me that want to be pros, right in your own backyard.
Hey, Brian Sullivan, Golf Underground, with a little tip for you. If you're looking to buy a new Ford, you have to check out my buddy, Jason Gudenkoff at Lewisburg Ford. They've been saving Midwest Ford buyers thousands of bucks for over 40 years because they do business the right way. They sell everything, check this out, for $50 over invoice. That's simple and cheap. And they win a lot of awards. In fact, they won Ford's President's Award 17 times. That's the top Ford award. And they only give it to dealers with superior customer satisfaction in sales and service. So they know how to take care of customers better than anybody. Now, what these guys know how to do also, keep this in mind, sell trucks. Lewisburg Ford has sold more F-150s than any other Ford dealership in greater Kansas City. That's 2 years running. And last year, they were the #1 F-150 sales leader in the entire state of Kansas. So, no hassle. $50 over invoice pricing, unparalleled customer satisfaction, and a huge selection. That's a perfect recipe for selling trucks. So, check out all their inventory and prices online at lewisburgford.com or give them a call at 816-444-2300.
New golf clubs, a big screen TV to watch the U.S. Open, or maybe even a new golf cart that I've got my eye on.
No matter how you choose to spend the savings, if you're looking to put a dent in your monthly heating and cooling bills, the answer may be right over your head. If your attic isn't insulated properly, you're missing out on a prime opportunity to cut costs. Call the certified energy experts at Star Companies, Inc., 816-353-2160 for a free estimate to learn how they can help you save money. 816-353-2160 or visit starcompanieskc.com.
Do you have retirement dreams about perfecting your swing and spending your time on the green? Or maybe you have a bucket list of golf courses you'd like to travel to. Whatever your financial goals are, Mariner Wealth Advisors is your advocate. We take the same care in understanding where you stand today as we do in understanding where you want to be in the future. Then, we help you set a personalized plan to help you achieve your long-term vision. Contact Mariner Wealth Advisors today to start your financial planning journey. Visit MarinerWealthAdvisors.com to find a location near you.
Mariner Wealth Advisors, otherwise known as MWA, is an SEC-registered investment advisor. Registration of an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. For additional information about MWA, including fees and services, please contact MWA or refer to the disclosures on our website. Please read the disclosure statement carefully before you invest or send money. This advertisement should not be considered investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell securities.
You're listening to Golf Underground on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM.
Problems with him.
Who's your favorite football team?
I'm a Charger guy. Die hard. Die hard.
All right, wait, watch this. Who's your all-time favorite player?
My all-time favorite athlete is Phillip Rivers. I know.
And we asked him last night, if you had to golf with somebody, you had to play a foursome, he said Phillip Rivers. He's Phillip. Don't say Phyllis.
Phyllis. It's big ticket. You got a question?
He is a family man. He's
big
a good
ticket,
Catholic
ladies and
family
gentlemen.
man.
I just got handed one more question. I think
Yeah.
there's another question over here, but the question I just got handed, it's for Sully, and it's from Joe, and it says, Sully, do you think you're successful?
So the same year Rickie came top 5 in 4 majors, I came in 3rd in the midget toss in Vegas. 14 feet I got thrown. So yes, I would say I'm successful, Ted. Thank you.
Hold on. We got Robert Streb FaceTiming right now. He's got a question. You better come up with something good. What is that hat?
Straight down hat.
I like that. All right, give us a question for Skovie.
Which pros do you take money off of at Whisper Rock?
It's a good question. I'd love to get in Colt's pocket more, but I don't. I think they all take my money, to be honest. I don't know that I've ever really gotten in many of their pockets. Max is usually my partner and try to get after Colt. And other than that, I kind of stay away from those pro games. I kind of hang with my 0s to 5s, you know?
Fair enough.
You're such a talker, Streb. You never shut up. Talk, 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 talk.
I got put on the spot. I love it. Those cocktails look nice. What do you guys drink?
Here's Rickie.
All right. Any more questions? Any more questions?
I got a question.
All right, come on.
See you, Trevor.
All right. 2 shots you and Fowler won back at a major.
So repeat that walk back, 2 shots in majors. Number one isn't a shot we hit. It's the shot that Patrick Reed hit that hit the pin on 17 at Augusta when we ended up finishing second. Like, just, man, that one was tough. That thing looked like it was screaming across the green and we were going to have a chance. And I'll actually never forget it. We were up there and scoring and I didn't get to see it. And Jordan Spieth, you'd have thought he was the guy waiting to see if he was going to win. And he came out and he started shaking me. He's like, you can't believe it. It just hit the stick. It was going across the green, and now he's going to tap in. And so that wasn't one we hit, but a mistake we made in a major that I would take back. You know what? One thing comes to mind. We shouldn't have let those guys hit through at Valhalla. I don't know if you guys know the story, but we should have made them wait. And that would be the one thing I think. Rory probably still wins, but I think letting him hit up and get through and the way that everything shifted, a lot of people don't know. All of a sudden, this cloud comes over, it's getting dark, and all of a sudden it shifted back into the wind, and we didn't have the right club now, and we ended up hitting it up there and 3-putting and finishing third. And there's just a lot of stuff that went down. That's the one that always still gets to me. I felt like that day we had a pretty good shot at winning that one, and so that's the one that I would take back.
All right, we have any more? Anything else?
You got anything more, Gus? That's all you got?
All right, I'll close it with. All right,
Here, hold on. I've got.
Yeah.
This is a kind of a serious question.
I like those.
So we know, caddies manage shot selection, club selection, yardage, all that kind of stuff. In your experience with Rickie, and you can expand to other caddies, how much do you have to manage emotion and what you're doing on the course during a tournament?
Yeah, I think that all varies. I appreciate the serious question. These are a lot easier.
That's a good question. Come on, I like the question.
So it depends on the guy, obviously. Like Michael Greller is a great example. I think that's Michael Greller's greatest strength with Jordan Spieth is he knows how to talk to him. He knows when not to talk to him. He knows when he needs to say something. And Jordan, as we all know, is a guy that verbalizes everything. And Mike's so good at dealing with it, and their relationship, it's worked out so well, and that's part of the reason they've had the success. As far as Rickie and I did a lot more talking in between shots when I first came out. I was a lot more of like a coach and trying to fire him up and keep him positive and do all those things. And over time, we talk less and less. He just doesn't need a lot. He doesn't really like the rah-rah stuff. So I kind of wait and pick and choose my times to say things. But he's been through pretty much every situation. He's been there, done that. And there's moments where I gotta say something, but they're a lot fewer now. A lot fewer of those moments.
I got 2 more, actually. A caddy. If you weren't Joe Skovron and you're on tour and you're caddying, who do you want to be? Sully. Bones.
Yeah, I think Bones is I've become very good friends with Bones, and we share a locker at the club, and he's been unbelievable to me. But on a serious note, he really kind of was the progression of our profession. He's the one that kind of changed it. He's the guy that got on commercials, and then you see him do TV afterwards, and now he's going back to Caddie, and he's just so well respected, and everything he's done, and all the success he's had with Phil. I'd definitely go Bones.
All right, last question from me. You've been on Rick's bag for more than 10 years. If you had to pick another player to work for, who would it be? I know the answer you told me 3 years ago. I'm just curious to see if it changed.
I mean, this is always a tough one because it only happens if, for some reason, Rick gets rid of me. But I with my relationship with guys and everything else, I would go Justin Thomas. Yeah, Justin Thomas. I just think he's such a good player. He's a balance as a person. We have a great relationship, and there's a reason Bones came out of retirement to go back and work for that kid.
All right, any closing questions? All right, we got one more, and then we'll get you to the bar and off your seats.
Hold on, before you speak, why are you wearing a red coat? Tell the listeners.
We're the home of the red coats. You can try it on later if you want, but
looks nice.
You know, Mike Rickett, he's our pro legend right over there. Everyone should thank him.
Big round, yeah, big round.
So do you think Tiger or Wardo will win an event on the Champions Tour first?
Tiger.
PGA Tour, I'm going Tiger. Champions Tour, I'm going Wardo.
So after last night, I'm not making it to 50, buddy.
I thought you already were 50.
Oh, fuck.
You did say last night he thinks Tiger's going to win another major.
I made a wager this week. I took 5-1 odds on $100 with a certain PGA Tour pro who I will not name, and I took him to win another major.
So, which means he knows things that we don't know.
No, I don't know anything that you don't know. I actually don't. I just think he's going to get another one.
Why not?
All right, give us a little Tiger insight on what he's doing right now before we're done.
I honestly don't know anything more than what I see in the videos. And so I know he's going to play the PNC, which is awesome. And just to see him back after, 9 months or whatever it's been, to already be back doing what he's doing, it's just exciting for all of us. The game needs him.
And you said he was built. He's very built now. He's very buff. It's very buff. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna tell you. So we're not there yet. We're not for the crescendo just yet. But I will tell you, I want to close out because this is important to me. The career that you've been watching in 3D has just been off the charts. I appreciate the fun that your guy brings to the game. He brought a bunch of young kids into the game. But I will tell you one story. So my father lived in Jupiter, Florida, where Rickie and a bunch of the guys live, right? And he got Alzheimer's. He got dementia. So I go down and I clean out his condo, and we do a going away party. And we're in this place called Casamia. And there's Rickie and just one other guy. My dad doesn't remember his wife's name, and I said, hey, Dad, Rickie Fowler's over there. This is a true story. And he said, Rickie Fowler, the golfer? He lives here in Jupiter. He forgets every other name. He remembers. So I go up to Rickie and I say, hey, Rickie, my dad's over there. He's got Alzheimer's. We're checking. Would you take a picture with him at some point? I don't want to bother you right now. He said, sure, no problem. We waited about 2 hours later, and Rickie had his entourage, about 15 guys there. And on the way out, I'm holding my dad. We're walking by, and I said, hey, Rick, can you take... I walk up to the table, and all his guys, hey, leave him alone. Leave him alone. They're all protecting Rick. And Rick got up off that chair, said, fellas, stop. He got out of that chair, and he put his arm around my dad, and he gave him a big freaking hug, and he took that picture, and that picture meant more to me than you could imagine. So it's so good to see good guys. You want to talk about success in life?
Show the picture.
Talk about success in life.
Show the picture.
Show the picture. Show the pic of my pops. There it is. There's old. Yep. So you want to talk about what success in life is? It's doing that stuff. God bless him. And so how about we give Joe a big round of applause for coming to join us? Joey.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Hopefully it wasn't too boring.
I hope it wasn't too. All right, guys, if you like what you heard, check out the Golf Underground on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you go. Check out Wardo, Sully, and George. We have a nice time. Guys, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, enjoy your day. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Guys, how about one more round of applause for Golf Underground and Joe Skovron?
I'm waking up to ash and dust. I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemicals.